The John G. Sutton column in Psychic World, published February 2014. The Spiritual Power of Poetry. I've recently been broadcasting a Network USA radio show called Psychic World in conjunction with www.transformationtalkradio.com out of WBLQ from New York City, USA. The feedback has been very encouraging, and one thing that my American audience tell me they like a lot is the poetry I read on air. In my program broadcast on the 15th of January, the main subject matter was poetry of the soul, a subject that is very close to my heart, as I truly believe that some poets are effectively mediums inspired by angelic, discarnate entities to write poems that have a spiritual message for mankind. As a poet and professional psychic medium myself, I have on many occasions woken from a dream with the words of a poem in my mind, almost fully formed. This happened to me quite recently, and I had to immediately transcribe the words onto a Word document, writing the poem that is called Flowers. It tells the story of a love that is eternal through the stages in life when we would typically give flowers to our loved ones. This is that poem. It bears my name, but was, I'm quite certain, created in a dimension beyond this, a dimension of spirit, by beings far more gifted than I. This is Flowers by John G. Sutton. Flowers in the fields, wild roses grow, God's way of letting us know the most beautiful things sent from above. Flowers show us the power of love. I was just a child, aged only 3, out in the garden by the old oak tree, picked some daisies growing there free, made a little posy for my dear mummy. As I gave them to Mum, said, I love you. These are the flowers, I picked them for you. I was 18 years, she was sweet 16, the loveliest girl I had ever seen. She held my hand, my heart beat fast. I had found the one for me at last. That Valentine's Day, the roses were red. Gave them to my girl, with love, the card said. On our wedding day, my bride wore white. The flowers were glorious, colours so bright. She held my hand, yes I will, yes I do, together forever with a love so true. Her pink rose bouquet she threw to a friend. That night we knew our love would never end. Through the years gave her flowers to say, our love is true, just like our wedding day. Each Valentine's the roses were red, sent them to her with love, the card said. Anniversaries came, the silver and gold, time passed, but dreams don't grow old. Our children all grown sent us flowers to say, to our mum and dad on your special day. But time is a thief, and to all it will come, the final journey for us had begun. Now we lie side by side, our spirits are free, and the roses above are placed there with love. Flowers in the field, wild roses grow, God's way of letting us know the most beautiful things sent from above. Flowers show us the power of love. The craft of poetry is, in my personal opinion, an art form that is at its best divinely inspired. I think of the poetry of William Shakespeare, whose Sonnet 18, "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" is among my favourites. In the poem, Shakespeare tells us that though every fair from fair sometimes declines by chance, or nature's changing course untrimmed, the eternal summer of our beautiful youth will never fade, when captured in lines eternal. So long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Shakespeare's work is as potent today as it is in the days of Elizabeth I, because it is inspired and inspirational. Think of his works and how many Shakespearean quotations fill the English language, and indeed our culture. Sonnet 18 gives us the darling buds of May. That became the title of a popular television series in the United Kingdom featuring Catherine Zeta-Jones and David Jason. The recently deceased author and philosopher Colin Wilson, who wrote The Outsider, Beyond the Occult, etc., once told me that when he sat down to write, there very often came over him a sense that he was being guided. There can be absolutely no doubt whatsoever that Wilson's research was conducted to a fine degree prior to its application to paper, but a mountain of facts do not make a readable and informative article or book. What Wilson was saying is that despite all the intense erudition, the final spark of inspiration to formulate the work came from a discarnate source. Colin Wilson was always a philosopher first and an author second. He told me he was guided in a way to tell the world that the nihilistic philosophy of the existentialists was totally misguided, and that life was far from meaningless. In his book, Below the Iceberg, Wilson explains that Jean-Paul Sartre, the founding philosopher of existentialism, was in fact arguing against an eternal truth, that is, we must live in hope. Tomorrow is always another day, and if we can believe that, then we can overcome all odds. Colin Wilson passed to spirit on the 5th of December 2013. I met with him for just a few days when I was researching one of my own published works back in the year 2001. The work of Colin Wilson, especially his philosophical works, will live on, and in years ahead I am quite certain his genius as an anti-Sartre philosopher with a dynamic positivistic philosophy will be internationally recognised. Do read The Strength to Dream by Colin Wilson. It is beyond doubt an inspired and inspirational book. My new radio show is available on the internet, and dear readers, dear listeners, you can download podcasts of my previous shows or listen live. The show is co-hosted by my friend Countess Starella and is broadcast live at 11 p.m. Eastern Time USA each Wednesday night, or here in the UK at 4 a.m. UK time. The station is WBLQ New York and the network is transformationtalkradio.com. Do please listen and maybe call in to chat. Call me live on air all across America and the world via the World Wide Web. I am John G. Sutton, and you can read more of my work online at www.psychicworld.net.